हम लोग लाइट लगे
ఇంతే అటొకటి ఇటొకటి పెడితే పడిపోతుంది కింద నువ్వు
ఇప్పుడు ఏమైంది వచ్చింది ఓకేనా ఇది కెమెరాలు ఆఫ్ చేసి పెట్టాలా అది రమణ
Testing. Hello, testing 1 2 3.
Hey, good evening everybody. I would request everyone to please take your seats back again. We are about to start with this beautiful show and the most important show for the evening in next few minutes. So I would request everybody to please take your seats back again. We are about to start in next few minutes.
ఇక్కడ చూసినా వర్షం పడ్డది. నేను కూడా ఇట్లా బస్సు ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఏంది టెన్ మినిట్స్ 7 minutes అయింది ఆడిపోయి ఇక్కడికి వచ్చేలోపు బటన్ డబల్ ప్రెస్ చేసి
క్లిప్ ఒకటే ఉంది కదా ఆ క్లిప్ డిలీట్ చేయాలి. ఏం కెమెరా
Z150 క్లిప్ ఆప్షన్ ఇవ్వలే ఆ 3-2లలో ఎఫెక్ట్ ఫైవ్లో ఇట్లా వస్తుంది. క్లిప్ మీద క్లిక్ చేసి తీసేస్తారు.
చైతన్య గారు ఓకేనా?
గాంధీ గారు తను ఫస్ట్ స్టార్ట్ చేసి అయిపోయాడు. సిగ్నల్ లేనప్పుడు నీ దగ్గర
మన కంట్రోల్ పైన కింద పైన కింద పైన కింద మీరు నా వాట్సాప్ అమ్మ కింద ఫోర్త్ ఫ్లోర్ సెటప్ చేస్తున్నాను.
కెమెరా అంటే అర్జెంట్గా థర్డ్ ఫ్లోర్కి వెళ్ళమని సార్ గెస్ట్ అక్కడ ఉన్నారు. ఇప్పుడు వచ్చింది పెట్టాం ఆల్రెడీ షార్ట్ అయిపోయింది.
వస్తున్నా వస్తున్నా నైట్
నడుస్తుందబ్బా.
అవుతుంది కానీ చూసుకుంటా ఇంతకుముందు రాగానే మొత్తం జరిగింది. వాయిస్ పోతుంది మళ్ళా.
Comfortable, it's okay for us. Yeah, no problem. Then okay.
We need 10 more chairs.
ఇక్కడ ఇస్తా
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to one and all present over here. Indeed, it's a very cool and super cool evening for all of us, as we all know that here we are with one of the biggest investing company, and talking about investment, we always think we should actually invest like the savings that we have. So here's a small quotation that I would like to quote for you all guys, that is, do not save what is left after spending, but always to spend what is left after saving. That's a very important thing that we got to learn and make an implementation to make sure that our savings are on a higher level, so that whatever we cannot afford it in a smaller part now can be affordable in a bigger part later on. And also being said, Right when we talk about savings, it is always like, oh my god, I have to save almost like 3/4 of my salary. No. It always starts with one single step, and then there's a whole staircase present for you all guys. So that's how the saving would start. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to talk much about it, I would again welcome you all to Savart, and to talk more about it, I would request first upon stage, I would like to welcome our dignitaries, Mr. Kranti, our Vice President Global Growth, on stage. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Requesting Mr. Ashwini, our CGO, on stage. And now requesting Mr. Malik, our CEO and our CTO, on stage. Please put your hands together. And not, forgetting to mention the man behind, the actual man, is none other than Mr. Chandrasekhar Chandra, the father of Mr. Sankarsh. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it would be an honor and definitely one of the, event wherein I would love to call this person and love to listen to this person is none other than Mr. Sankarsh Chandra, our Chairman, CFO, on stage. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. And trust me, just like you guys, I am waiting for this man to come forward and talk and get us know what exactly are they doing here and what are the mission, visions and the road pathway and how long this journey could be with you and with us. And I know being one of the investors, we have our investors, we have our clients, we have the family who might get interested right after his speak, because I am one of them, as I promised, like I want to listen to you first. So that would be one of the great journey to listen with. And I would request now the man himself to deliver his speech with the mission and vision of Savart. And he's none other than Mr. Sankarsh Chandra. Please put your hands together for Mr. Sankarsh.
Okay, good evening everybody. Thanks for coming in. 1 second. Okay, is it audible? Yes. Can you hear? Perfect. Good evening everybody. Thanks for coming in. And it's a wonderful Sunday evening, and we have a great number of guests coming here. Like Chanchal already mentioned, we have our clients. We have our Hello. Okay, so we have our clients, we have our stakeholders, we have our team here, and most importantly, we have our early backers since the inception of the company. And in fact, many of the people just amongst you, the people who believed in Savart around 5 years back when there was absolutely nothing. So when people come up to us right now and then they want to invest with us or they want to work with us, it is fairly understandable. And there's still, of course, a lot of scope for improvement left in the company, but still we do understand. But then just thinking and reminiscing about the people who came to us 5 years, 3 years and 2 years back as well, right? On why they believed in Savart, why they believed in our vision. So we'll take this opportunity to thank all of them for this time. So I want a single round of applause for all people who trusted in Savart, the earliest investors, the team members. And I do not have enough time here and I don't want to bore all of you with taking all the names here. But still, I'll go ahead and talk about a few people. So number one, my mentor Ajay Batra, who's not here, but he'll be visiting Hyderabad very soon for some presentations and meetings with us. So Ajay has been with the company since inception. He's been my mentor. He's been guiding the company since day one. He's told us what to do, what not to do, but always had an opinion that was flexible, which reflected his experience, and always a positive aura that he carried in at all times. And his support has been tremendous throughout this entire journey, whether it's financial, whether it's in terms of expertise, whether it's in terms of hiring, building a team, building a culture, building an organization. So he's currently with us as the head for our international expansion and strategy, and also serves on the board of directors of Savart. And just to give a brief background about him, he was the ex-president of Azim Premji Foundation. He's worked with Citibank. He was a director of the Hatchery, the startup incubator at Bennett University, and he's a consultant to many Fortune 500 companies. And it's a privilege to work with him and have his guidance and support at all times. The next people are Aditya and Sridhar, who are also coming later this month to kind of, they're involved with us almost since inception of the company, who look after our investment, research. Sridhar advises us on the business end. So I would take some time to actually thank him, and they are the faces behind the company. So very often it's me who is always visible in the news or in the press, but these are the actual heroes who actually work within Savart. And now coming to the people who are already on the dash, Mallikarjun, who joined in Savart as a CTO around 2.5 years back approximately, and he's now the CEO of the company. So I'd like to thank him. In fact, for the last 9600 hours, I don't think he's had any sleep at all. So he's had sleepless nights because of the company and getting all the arrangements done. So he considers this as his own company, which is very rare, right? And he works with a sense of ownership, which is super, super rare. And we are very fortunate to have people like them. And Ashwini and Kranti. Kranti is one of our earliest investors anyways, and Ashwini joined in us recently, but nevertheless they have a very, very critical hand in the entire growth and the operations of the company. And people who are not on the stage but equally important, in fact they are our feet on the ground, and they are one of the most smartest people that I've worked with so far. Whether it's Anit, who's been with the company almost since our inception. He's our research analyst, and he's right there. Just raise your hand, Anit. And Neeraj, who is my university batchmate, and super dedicated in whatever we do. He'll be representing the Canadian business of Savart as the CEO of the Savart Canada operations. And just to give you a background of his journey, he completed his BTech. I didn't. I feel that's the only 2 years he wasted. After that, he joined in a company within the sales domain, and then from sales to client service to HR to operations to being a generalist to now being a CEO of Canada operations in less than 1 year. And most importantly, he isn't there because he's my friend or I know him upfront. In fact, all people that I know and I work with who are family members or friends, they go through more rigorous process of interviewing, or in general I hold them to higher standards of work, right? Then coming to Surat, Shivaji, Pramod, who are also my batchmates at Bennett, and raise your hand, Pramod. Surat and Shivaji are downstairs. Like always, they are working with full dedication. So I'd like to thank them. And then the entire team of Savart, right? Deepak, Sharath, Vinay, Himabindu, Anil, Vineet, Hemant, right? The entire team. In fact, I may not be able to name everybody at the moment. We'll take a group photo, and I would love, and you will see the badges, I am Savart, that the team members represent basically. Please have a talk with them, greet them, and they'll be really delighted to have a chat with any of you sitting here, right? So coming to the next agenda, and this day I chose for a very special reason. In fact, you notice everything in the office is brand new, and there are still works and finishing touches left. So this was a 25-30 day project that was there for the interiors and the entire work to be closed. I insisted that we have it today because one, it's the birthday of one of my most important people, my sister, who's in Canada, Taruni, and she's also one of the most important and critical people involved in the operations of the company since inception until today, right? And good part is most of the time she works for free, so there's a lot of work I get without paying money, so that's also very good for me. And of course she does it with such diligence that is unmatched, and dedication that's unmatched basically. So though she isn't here, just like Aditya, Sridhar and Ajay, she has a very important hand in the success of the company. And coming to the next points, I think there's a lot of people I haven't thanked, including our investors, shareholders by name. And like I said, please talk to us, whoever has a badge. They'll be delighted to explain Savart and what we do every day. Coming to the next part, So whenever we talk about our success and the company's growth, it's easy to forget that this is just a one milestone for us basically. It just happens that we want to celebrate each and every milestone. But that doesn't mean we kind of settle here, right? This is a very, very, very small step in where we want to be. But since like it's often said, the journey is also as important as the destination, and in fact sometimes more important. We want to spend that time and give a pause to actually celebrate all those moments with people that we love and people that we care about. So that's success for us. And going ahead, over the next half an hour, I'll take you through. Some of you might be really bored that I'm talking for the next half an hour, but please bear with me. There are a lot of important things that we'll be discussing. There are a lot of our business partners, investors here who are also interested in the details that we'll be showing. And post this, we'd like to open up to a Q&A session. There's a lot of clients and prospective clients who would like to ask questions, so we'll open up to that as well. And once we wrap this up in the next 1 hour 20 minutes, we'll open up for networking and have a casual kind of event. And Chanchal will also be here to kind of engage us with a lot of interesting activities. Tejas, can you switch on the PPT? Okay, sure. Okay, so then how do I talk? They can maybe switch. For a moment they can put and switch. Right? Okay, give me the PPT. Sure. So there's a glitch where the screen shows either me or the PPT. So the team chose me. Give me 2 minutes and I'll switch on the PPT on my phone. And anybody who wants a bottle of water or welcome drinks or starters, just please let us know. Our team again with the badges, all of us are volunteering here today on a Sunday. Please feel free to reach out to them. You'll get whatever you want.
And indeed, I missed out one important person's name, Sangeeta Garu, who's mother of Sankarsh. Please put your hands together for such a lovely and a proud mother, I would say. And kada proud na? Yes. So indeed, she is definitely proud to be a mother of such an intelligent fellow. I was throughout this week when you were talking about every other person, I was so surprised to know that you remember everything. That's really hard to remember, right? Most of us, because I write it down, being an anchor, I write it down everything, the designation, everything, but he remembers everything. Probably that's the reason you're there and I'm still here. Yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do also have the question and answer session, which is like a really interesting one. I know you guys are waiting for that, wherein you want to answer, you want to question few things and get the answers done. And that would be done right away after Mr. Sankarsh and Mr. Malik address you guys.
I think we'll go with the PPT and my audio is, I think, yeah, it's fine. I got the PPT.
Yes.
They can have me there. Fine. Perfect. I think even the next slide that we completed, wanted to thank a lot of team members, family members. We'll get to that. In terms of what Savart is doing at the moment, at least they just show the PPT at least so that they understand the context. Okay. So, showing up the vision and mission of Savart, we've kind of wavered and made lot of changes in our programs, in our vision, mission multiple times, but the core fundamentals have remained the same. So when I did my initial survey in 2017 along with my mentor, there were a lot of confusions in my head in what target segment we wanted to reach out, why we wanted to reach out, what's the value that we wanted to add to the society. So number one, if you look at the investment space, there is a lot of people who are already serving the multi-millionaire clients or the billionaire clients or who are already well-to-do. But there's very little options left for the retail investors. So that's whom we wanted to kind of sign up, support and create enough wealth for them so that we bridge this poor-rich inequality gap. Second, give them enough time to pursue their passions in life. For example, if there is a security guard and they have a kid, right? So I don't want, I want to see a world, in fact, where Savart is creating value in such a way that the guard doesn't force their kids into a particular profession of engineer or a doctor just to make money, right? So whether they want to be an artist or a dancer or a singer, the decision for profession must be taken by their passion and their own choice, not because for the need for money, right? So that financial freedom to choose their passion, to choose their profession is a very fundamental aspect of what Savart wants to achieve. In terms of our long-term wealth creation, to give you some statistics, since 2019, Nifty has given a return of 18.77% CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. We have done a return of 34.71% CAGR, which is a 2x outperformance. And this return is a blended return, which includes equity and debt investments. And for those who are not very understanding of the financial domain, we have invested in stocks, mutual fund, bonds across different clients in different times, in different geographies. Still, we have been able to outperform with a 34.7% CAGR. So we want to continue to do this return over the next 10 years. And most importantly, we are building a culture of long-term wealth creation. So you see in the news, you see in the media, everybody is all about short-term money, right? Whether it is cryptos or speculative trading, everybody wants to make quick money. Now, those things are not bad, but they are really, really bad if you don't do the research that's behind it. So we want to create a culture of long-term wealth creation where people are patient, invest in fundamentally strong businesses and create wealth for everybody. And next, it's not just about all the successes and achievements. We have also failed in a lot of aspects. We wanted to cover the rural India with our entire clientele. We wanted to cover them and make them invest in the stock markets. So that is where Savart has failed tremendously, because the people in the rural and suburban areas have been duped and cheated by multiple rounds of Ponzi schemes and people who have kind of stripped them of their money, basically. So today they don't want to rely on any particular investments or different companies which are seeking investments, basically. So we want to target these clients. We want to educate them first and then bring them and create that financial inclusion. That's super, super important for us. Yeah. Next, in terms of, can you go 2 slides back, please? Leadership. Yeah. And where we want to be 2 to 3 years from now, leadership in the AI-based investment insights category. Now, this is not a category that I'm talking about wealth tech, fintech, asset management, nothing like that. We're calling it investment insights. Just to give you an idea of what exactly we are talking about. So today, when you go to when you want to search about something, you go to Google, you put in your search query, and then you get different links and sources of the answers to those questions. The future is not about information and data aggregation, it's all about insight generation. So when you ask a question, you will directly get your answer. So that's the insights that we are looking at, which is the next big revolution, like the data and tech revolution that was there over the last 2 decades. Now, how do we create investment insights? Our in-house technology termed the APART, right? Can you skip to this APART slide? So, we're digressing a little bit to discuss about this technology. So, APART is very similar in look, feel and logo terms to Savart. And even the name, the ART part is the same. But APART actually stands for Advanced Process Automation and Research Technology. Now, what this technology does is the same technology that's powering Savart's investments every day, the AI and ML system that we have written. The same tech, we actually want to give it to asset management institutions across the world to automate their research and operations as well. Now, what does that mean? So today, as a fund manager, I might be a really good fund manager, but in 5 years I retire, or actually I go to another company which pays me more. But as an investor of that particular company, I might lose out on the returns because the fund manager changed. Second, not all fund managers are able to beat the index and the benchmarks. Most of the fund managers and advisors in the market fail to outperform the basic benchmark. Then less than 10% of advisors actually do that. So we created this system which is better than us in a lot of terms, has lesser emotions, lesser bias, higher accuracy, greater research coverage, and responsible for the outperformance that we have created. So this tech, we want this to be the operating system for portfolio management across the world. So that's why we are setting up our offices in Canada, in US, in Japan, and very soon in a lot of other Middle East places as well. And we are proud to be one of the very, very few companies who have a global footprint already with clients in over 30 countries and 24 Indian states. And we are also building our physical presence in all these countries pretty soon. And this also marks the unveiling of the Savart logo, or the Apart logo in fact, and which will be soon demerging into a separate entity, and also marks our foray into the B2B business. So we thought there's no better time than this to actually discuss about that. Next few slides, please, Tejas. Looking ahead, in terms of our next key events. So this year, we want to close our revenues at 7.5 crore INR, which is $1 million of revenue. So we'll be doing this by the end of this financial year, which will make us one of the top 5 advisors in the country. We're currently the 7th or 8th largest in India in terms of revenue as well as market cap, in terms of assets under advisory. This will propel us to the top 5 by the end of this financial year. So that's one of the key metrics that we are looking at. Next, in terms of validation of Apart products, working with a lot of institutions to get our research technologies into their operations, daily operations, customize and take to Bharat. Like we said, rural and suburban expansion is something that we are super excited about. The next leg of growth. This market is super small at this moment, so unless we expand and make efforts to expand this market, there won't be space for too many players in the market. Next, grow into a global hub for innovation, development and marketing for Savart. So there's a lot of synergies that we think post demerger that all the sister entities that we'll be working for. And you might already be wondering what is Starter on the banner. We'll come to it in the end. I'll also talk about that a little bit. Next slide, Tejas. So the part 2 of looking ahead, launching a B2C business in Canada. So this is expected to be live by September, December this year. Same thing with our Japanese business. It will be up before March of 2023. And expansion into Middle East, African and APAC regions is where we'll be pretty soon. The next. Formal launch of our employee stock option program. So we'll be unveiling our HR policy for the first time. Super late, but it's one of the global standards. In fact, we are setting our own standard in terms of our HR policy. For example, we'll be unveiling something called an unlimited leave policy, which means all team members are free to take unlimited number of paid leaves across periods of time. So this is a very trust-based thing that is done, and because we believe in our team, we are able to give them something like that. And then we'll also be unveiling our bucket list program. So whenever a team member particularly joins Savart or any other company, there are 2 kinds of goals in their mind: a personal goal and a professional goal. A personal goal is something like building a house or buying a car or getting their kids education, right? So we want Savart to be involved in achieving that as well. So we are quantifying every bucket list of every particular team member and creating a quantitative and an attainable roadmap on what value we expect them to create for the company, and in turn, whether it's a house, whether it's a world tour, the company will be 100% sponsoring all of that. So that's the bucket list program that we'll be launching as part of our HR policy. And last, the ESOP policy. That's a very standard thing that we want to do, make them owners of our business. So we want to create a proportionate wealth creation for every stakeholder in the business, not just for ourselves. And global fundraise, we are currently in the middle of raising $1 million, 7.5 crores INR from one of India's largest investors. We have signed a term sheet. We'll be closing our subscription and shareholder agreement by the end of this week. So that will be the largest fundraise for Savart so far at $1 million. And we'll be making a launch of that as well. And that investor is India's largest in terms of deal numbers. And they're also one of the earliest investors in Oyo Hotels and Beardo and BharatPay. I'll also take a couple of moments, in fact, to talk about the clients who have come here for this event. Thanks for taking the time again. I've already thanked you multiple times for taking the time to be here. And if you want to talk to us in person, please feel free. We're available here until midnight or even beyond. And you have any questions, please feel free to reach anybody with a Savart badge and they'll redirect you. And I'll now hand over the podium to Malik, our CEO, who will be addressing all of you for the next couple of minutes. And we'll try to wrap up as soon as possible. and he'll also be making a couple of very, very critical announcements. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being here again, and we look forward to meeting you in person as well, personally. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All that I could say is Sankarsh is actually taking my highlights also by inviting Mr. Malik right away. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was a quick brief about the Savart and the other part and the starter that is coming up. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to address the gathering, I would request Mr. Malik, our CEO, CTO, to please address the gathering with a round of applause. Please put your hands together.
Thank you, Chanchal. Hey, it's wonderful evening, and I'm looking at the podium. I see that three different names over here, all across Sankarsh. I'm saying not three different names. Applause to Sankarsh again, for the vision and mission that he carried out all across in the just 5 years. It's not possible without having a great vision that he carries in. The first time when I meet Sankarsh, right, I just had a 5 minutes chat and took a decision. Probably I carry 26 years experience into the IT, but it took hardly 5 minutes for me to take a decision whether I have to join in the company or not. That's a great pleasure I carry when I talk to Sankarsh. It's not me alone, it's with everyone. I see that who merged with Sankarsh, very soon, very quick, and that's where the charisma comes from him. Thank you so much, Sankarsh, all the support that you have extended to entire team right now for the successful journey that we had. So, gentlemen, and very good evening. It's not so easy because the commitment, the promise that we wanted to give to again, the customers, investors, employees, and more often, when I call as product and services we bring, it's not so easy. But always we see that the commitment and the promise that we wanted to keep it, it sustains. That is something which important for us, to carry on further. So we have a great team for that, So when we are talking about the 4 pillars that we always carry as a strength of all of us, it's the first strength is customers. We always adopt the customer first approach. And the customer first approach is something that lets Sankarsh all across the journey, right? Because he never make us stand, sit, sleep. That is something always we learn from him too. Because the customer is something who is turning around for all our journey, in the success journey, I can say as. So customer first, we always try to be ourselves available to the customer. The technology platforms, the people, everything that we host is for again to connect the customers where we are. And it's more important for us to always tune ourselves, the rules that we bring. We frame rules, but definitely the rules that tend to tune to the customer's need, that we always follow. And the feedback system, always we bring it to the customers to hear and listen what the customer demands for, ask for, right? And we always wanted to be in their reach. That's something that we wanted to always bring into it. And the commitment, definitely it is not just the subscription that customers are paying us, but they're carrying our trust. The trust always we wanted to bring true, right? And it's a kind of, as Sankarsh said, that it is just 1,000 rupees of investment, right? We can change the careers, we can change a family, we can change the plan of anybody. It could be a rickshaw wala, a street hawker, or anybody, right? That's basically the vision that Sankarsh carry, and the organization wanted to to pull that vision back into again our system, right? So we wanted to make that kind of poorest to a poor to make them rich. That is what attitude what we bring in. Definitely we carried away this particular vision all across our journey. Though we have got 3,500 plus customer today, but definitely all these 3,500 customers, there are poor, there are rich, and although the richest people but everybody, the support, the service that we bring, it is much equal to everyone. We are next to them, we always listen, we always hear to them for the betterment and the service that we wanted to bring to them. So that is where we wanted to make sure our customers happy with whatever the products and services we bring in. Second is the investors is another pillar that we carry. As Sankarsh said that without investors today we are not. Our growth is completely aligned to the investors plan. we always make sure that we are committed to the investors plan. And there are a lot of investors from the independent to institutionalized investors who invested within the organization, looking at the vision and mission of the organization. So we always try to make sure that their dreams comes true. And that's where we are today, and this is the milestone. We can call us our new headquarters, Savart. But this is a vibrant, it's a symbol of vibrant, and also it's a global Savart representation we want to bring in. This could be one of the minor milestone, but there are always milestones going ahead which we want to bring in, right? And as I told you, we are today 100 crore company where altogether we are having a global presence, and we wanted to be, we never wanted to stop our dreams here. We wanted to continue. We want to make sure investors delight also along with it. Third thing is the third pillar which can carry us our employees, without which we are not there today. The employee happiness is much important, as Sankar said, that we bring the deepest principles from the organization. We never treat employees as employees. We treat employees as partners, and that's the reason if you can say the ESOP policies that we wanted to bring, the partnership kind of engagement the employees can carry with us is always the delight that we wanted to bring with them. And never we considered that employees are employees. Employees are always partners, and that's their happiness which has been carried on to get the delightness of the customers and investors. And although if you can see the age of our employees is almost 3 years, I can say that we have the people, as Sankarsh introduced, they're almost they're the seed employees of us, right? And we always have a delight to the employees also, and we bring that kind of satisfaction also, the employee satisfaction, which is also very important for us to make our objectives and the vision empowered, right? And the fourth is our tools and technologies. The product and services that we want to bring in, without the technology support, without our research support, it is not possible. Our great research team that we have, which is carried on always, they are empowered with a lot of the brains into it. It could be starting from the fundamental analysis, the technical analysis, the historical analysis, or maybe we almost have 3 trillion touch points. When one recommendation goes to our customers, it just processes through 3 trillion data points. That's how our research brains works, our technology works. And this research, what our people they are involved in 24 hours a day, 24/7, that brings and translates to our IT platform, IT technology platform. And this IT technology platform, which is again AI-driven technology platform, we call as AI-driven research platform. They're together club, and that's where we sounds great in the nation, and always we want to take a footprint in international also. The global presence that we wanted to bring, what Sankarsh has told about apart is also carried with research and technology platform more even to bring again the international customers, compete with them, and make sure we'll have a stable journey also internationally, globally, in all across the countries. Maybe Sankarsh has taken 3 to 4 countries today, but we wanted to beat uneven continents and step into it and meet. So these are the 4 pillars of our organization, which is we are striving hard, and successfully we are taking this journey. And that's how we want to say this, and I won't take much time for you, and probably we'll have a good time, and Chanchala should be entertaining all of us again in the next moments. And thank you so much. We are open for Q&A sessions, and definitely please reach us. We are all here for any questions that you have. We are delighted to again challenge and experience with you. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malik. Mic volume, check. Thank you so much, Mr. Malik, and that puts me on a confusion. Yes, before we start with the Q&A session, I would request once again Mr. Sankarsh to please come forward and put a limelight on the starter that you wanted to speak a few words.
Okay, my bad. I forgot taking in the last slide and introducing starter, which I said I'll do that. So starter is a combination of 2 words, star plus ardor. Ardor means passion for stars. So space and stock markets have always been my passion. So Savart and Apart represent my passion for stock market investments and equity investments in general. So Starter is a brand new aerospace company that we have launched, which is building India's first private space shuttle to Moon and Mars. And on August 15th of this year, we'll be doing India's largest private static fire test of our engine Hermes, the picture that you see at the right bottom. So that's completely developed in-house. That's our proprietary technology. It's a 20 kilonewton thruster engine, and that will be static fire tested on August 15th. So this will mark India's foray and humanity's foray into the celestial journeys and space expeditions. It's not that it's not been done ever before, but not at the scale and with the ease and with the beautiful technology that we are bringing in. So the vision for Starter is pretty simple. It's not just about space mobility. It's not just about logistics for space and tourism for space. We are focused on the deepest questions about humanity and about the universe. For example, like whenever we talk about the stock markets, or in general I'm in my business operations, there's certain things that drive me every day about what's the expanse of the universe, where exactly are we. We do know that there is extraterrestrial life, but where exactly that is, how do we get in contact with them? So the ultimate questions that humanity faces. So that's the vision for Starter. So the things which cannot and will not be done privately, which means which do not have a commercial interest only. Of course, there is a commercial and a business potential for those as well, but these are projects that are generally taken up by government institutions based on research projects and research funds. So we want to change that. We don't want research to be run only on funds and grants. We want it to be run just like a business, right? So because if it funds itself, if it is self-sustainable, it doesn't need to beg for money always, continuously. And the scientists and our research teams can actually focus on answering those deepest questions. So Savart, Apart and Starter have a really deep links, and they are very built on the very fundamental premise of curiosity and answering these questions. And how these businesses will work together in the future is something that we'll unveil over the next 5 to 10 years. So that's the vision for all the three entities. They might look super different and super diverse at this moment, but there is a fundamental link, and everybody will understand that over the next 5 to 10 years, and we'll be unveiling our mega missions and our visions on where we want to take all of these three companies together, not individually and separately. And the Starter team is also amongst us, so we'll be doing a separate event and a press release for the static fire test day, and which will be broadcast live across India as well as internationally. And we'd be super excited to have most of you attend that event as well, of course with all the safety precautions and all the steps needed from a regulatory angle. We'll keep you updated on that, so do follow out our social media handles of Starter to remain updated on that. And thanks again, and sorry to chip in again with this extra piece of information. Thanks everybody for your time, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now we are open for the Q&A session. And when that comes in, Nawalik, my first question would be for you. As I could hear it first, what do you think so would be better for me? Because I have been hearing lots of, advantages being an employee and investor too. So I'm a little confused. You want me to be the employee or the investor first?
So it's a choice of options you have. You can be out of three, but I cannot leave technology as a platform to you probably. But I can look at from the investor angle much than an employee.
So that's called a business mind. I cannot help with that. Okay, any other person who would like to? Yeah, please. Can we have team? Another mic?
Namaste everybody. Namaste. Sankarsh and I have invited him probably like 2 years back. We met him and discussed it. Okay. And we met each other 2 years back, and so I'm from Manipur. My name is Khagemba, everybody. I love the city, it's great. Can we have a round of applause for that? Thank you. And the thing is, as I see the mission and vision, it's very compelling, and I'm really inspired and passionate towards it. So I want to spread it throughout Northeast. So I just want to know your view, your take on that. What do you want to say about that?
So first of all, thanks Khagemba for coming upon a quick short notice invite. Thanks for coming in the first place. And I met Khagemba around 2 years back, like I said, in Manipur. And Northeast is something that's been very close to our heart, and we want to we have a lot of plans for it, but we've been unable to get ahead with that. I think this trip of yours would be fundamental and critical in making that initial ice breaking and making headway there. And one thing that I've noticed there is the kind of support and love that people have, right, for learning something new and the curiosity. And even that was a jam-packed event when we had that event there, the speech that I was giving there. So love that enthusiasm, and I think it's only a matter of time. I think in the next couple of months we should look at doing something really, really phenomenal in the Northeast, through a physical as well as a digital expansion. We'll discuss that in person as well, and thanks for bringing that up.
Any other question? Yep, we have someone from the back.
Hello. So I know I'm like not at the age, but not all human beings can like control their temper, and also how do you deal with employees who can't control their anger?
So even I'm
She's
not
especially mentioning about me, that how did you dealt it with me right before the event? Yeah.
No, for example, like in general, for example, I'll take Fiza as an example, right? She's one of our team member, right? So there's things that people are generally mad at for a reason, and some things they are not. So I like to know the reasons behind why they are mad in the first place, or angry, whatever. And there's some things which are achievable and correctable, right? So we focus on them. And it's not that I'm at a greater level of emotional strength at the moment, because I also get angry. I mean, it's not very often, but I do get that. And it's something that we learn to deal with, because when you treat employees as human beings, right, so you'll understand they have multiple ups and down times as well, just like we have and everybody else has, right? So they're not robots and machines that they maintain that same productivity every day, throughout the day and forever, basically. So we need to understand their situation and then kind of do it. And in general, I mean, it's I don't know if it's healthy, but especially Neeraj, Surat, and especially my batchmates, when we disagree, it sometimes comes down to blows also. We hit each other also. So like we literally hit each other, and until the last guy kind of wins with their own opinion, basically. So it's not a very great thing that is replicable outside, because there are friends and we kind of super comfortable. But in the office, it's a very casual atmosphere. In super general, we really don't have anything which is very formal, actually, right? In fact, I am representative of that the most. I mean, I may have worn the suit and pant after say 5 years, I think. So I have not experienced this. In fact, that's the most newest experience today for me. So that's.
If I have to add, it took a lot of cajoling, lot of convincing to get him here.
Yeah. So I think when you're around people like this, we don't get mad and angry generally. But when we do, we just understand each other. That's it. And that's a good question. I mean, yeah, great question from you. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. It's all about the atmosphere. You need to have such beautiful atmosphere around you.
Hi sir, it's more sort of a personal question. First of all, I'm Sohan. So, what is the secret behind your success, that too at a very young age? And what message do you want to give to youngsters like us?
Yeah, thanks, Om, and you can call me Sankarsh, not sir. And in terms of in terms of age, right? I mean, it is not generally believable when I tell people, but I feel that I at least wasted around 14-15 years of my life, right? In fact, I tell my parents the same thing, that if I had not gone to school, I would have started Savart at maybe 8 or 10, basically. So it delayed, basically. It actually delayed my entire plans, and so I regret that every day, that I went to school and then I wasted all of that time. And if I had just read those books which I read at 18 and 16 and 14, at 8 and 7 and 6, I would have actually done this much faster, actually. So one, in terms of age, I'm actually very disappointed that a lot of time has already gone away. And in terms of the second answer, I really don't think of this as a success, because like I said, our vision, which I explained right a few minutes back, until I get there, I actually don't count it as a real success, right? So I'm just on that way, basically. And none of it is super personal. In fact, there's so many things I have to kind of work on myself in a lot of aspects, not just from a business angle, in generally a personal angle as well. There's so much scope for improvement, basically. So in no way I see it as a success. So when I talked about success, it's a company level. It's at a Savart's as a team member of success basically. And final question in terms of message, I actually have nothing absolutely to say apart from what I say in my interviews, is that just do what you love to do, and at the end actually nothing really matters basically. So that those lyrics in the Bohemian Rhapsody, right, that song, that's something that sticks in my head. Nothing really matters basically. So once you start looking at the bigger aspects of the universe and where we are and what we are doing, everything else is actually trivial basically. And I don't follow it myself most of the times, but I would love to do something like that and just not take anything too seriously and just enjoy every day. And last thing is, I enjoy doing what I do, and as soon as I wake up every day in the morning, I want to rush towards the office basically, right? So there's a book, Tap Dancing to Work, and in fact I think there's a quotation. So that's exactly what I love doing basically. So and I think that's the most important thing. I can sleep whenever I want, I can wake up, I can eat whenever I want. So that freedom I think is very, very valuable, and that's the same freedom I want to kind of give and share with my team as well, because it's not like a school or a college, right? Timings, you need to put your biometric fingerprint. That system already got installed, but we won't be using most likely. So it looks so very like a subjugating atmosphere basically, where people are looked at as machines. We want to get rid of that. Just enjoy what we are doing, that's it, right? And in fact today is a Sunday, right? Literally there was no communication to team. Is there a comp off? Is this a paid day? Are they working on a leave? We didn't even have the need to talk about all of that with them. It was a natural conversation. Sunday is the event, we all are coming, done. That's it. Nobody even asked, "Arey Sunday le rahe, you will give us compensation, leave or not?" Of course we'll give, but we didn't talk about it, right? And so these are small things, but I think that's the culture we want to build, and that's the message we want to give other companies as well in terms of what we do.
That's a great one. And
To extend Sankar's answer, just go to the 4th floor, look at the library. So they are the books like Sankar's already churned. It's almost 800 to 1000 books are there. So probably by reading that books itself will take my age probably, but he did it in just 3-4 years. That's again one of his cherishment.
that's
Not basic.
How they can become Sankar? I mean,
No,
there are a lot of people wanted to ask that what
so how do you become a Sankar?
No, I don't even.
You don't require a
What went right for you? Was it a DNA? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you have to elaborate.
Sure. So I think number one, he does not need to be Sankar, he should be the first Soham, right? So that's important. And I think in terms of at least where I am, I think luck is a very important part. It's easy to actually look in hindsight and say, I actually read a lot of books and I did all of this stuff, that's why I'm here. But then a lot of luck is at play basically, right? For example, I was supposed to leave for the US during my BTech. Right? And I just happened to do a Google search, stayed back in India, met Ajay and started the company. What if I went there? I would actually be doing my MS now basically, right? Masters, and I would be working at another organization. So it's a stroke of luck also that I would say is number one. Number two, I'm doing what I love basically, right? So even if somebody pays me say 100 times of what we are making here, I wouldn't change it, because that enjoyment is not it's priceless basically. And that's the reason I wake up from the bed, run out to the office and come out every day, right? And we log in 12-16 hours a day, not because it's even needed. In fact, I'm not needed in the office for 15-16 hours. But still, why I do it is just because I like to do. And out of that, I waste 4-5 hours every day, I'm damn sure of that, in the office itself. But it's just the atmosphere. I want to be with the team, I want to enjoy. So every non-sleeping and eating hour, I want to actually spend with Savart and Starter. So, and that's also the message basically. Just do what you love. And if you're not liking what you do, just change it. Don't listen to anybody basically. Even if it's your parents, even if it's relative. Especially be careful with the people who don't actually have a stake in your life, but act as if they have a stake in your life, right? So be very careful. Yeah, have an opinion about everything you do. They don't care basically, and their opinion is just a matter of time basically. It's a matter proportionate to your success. It will change over time, and it changes positively as you grow in life basically. Right, so it's all that matters is just you, and in the end again nothing really matters in the very very long thing basically.
To sum this up, it would be like, जो क्या लोग कहेंगे, ये भी हम कहने लगे तो लोग क्या कहेंगे, is what he just went to say. And I could see right when you said that, you've already wasted, you could have started at the age of 8. I could see the kids saying that, Mama, tomorrow we are not going to school. Can we just answer them out?
Yeah, I think Mama should listen. We shouldn't go to school, right? So, it's not that schools are bad. Honestly, it's not. I'm not taking on the education sector. It's just that there is a disconnect between what's taught and what's being lived, basically, right? I never used a trigonometry algebra to talk to my milkman, right? And I don't like to be a mathematician ever in my life. So why should I read that? If I have the clarity, I will read what I want to read. If I don't have the clarity, I'll go across subjects. Then it should be an optional thing, basically, whether I really want to read mathematics. And the basic addition, subtraction, everything, right, was I think done at 4th or 3rd class level only. Whatever mathematics was taught after that, I never really used back again in my life. But on the other side, we are still writing in English. When we read, we are writing letters, basically. Who writes letters? Show us how to write an email, basically. And I didn't know how to open Microsoft Office. I didn't know how to use it until I started the company. So who doesn't use Microsoft Office? At least who is in the professional sector, right? They use it. Teach us how to use that. Empathy, right? How do you understand other people's problems and how do you talk to them? How do you respect others? Things which are not taught elsewhere. So I think those life skills are something that we need to be talking and learning in school, and not about all that bullshit that's generally taught, basically. Right? So that's my thing. And if kids don't want to go, don't send them. Just leave it, basically.
The moms are scared now. It's okay. I do understand. I have been to school. You can at least be in this position. Don't worry. Okay. So yes, that was indeed. We are going with the finale question because we are ahead to step to the next. Yeah. Right after that question, I'll hand over the mic to you. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. I'm Edikondlu. I met the Sankarsh 3 years back, and we met 3 times after that. And I seen that after conversation with the Sankarsh, I fall in love with him, with his conversation and way of approaching the customers. That is why today he is in here, this stage. That's I believe in that, because the way of communication with the customer is very, very important in every business. Okay, I am also running a business. That is the most important thing I want to learn from the Sankarsh. And one thing I want to ask you that, as we meet in the first time, the first agenda you told me that to go to get the financial freedom. That is the main point here. And you can see that only 2% of investors are there in India. And if you go for rural areas, there are very, very less people. Okay, to convey your message to the rural people, what type of steps you are going to take it as a Savart, and what type of steps you are going to take as a youngsters, because so many people, they are not believe in the stock market and long term investments also. Today, nowadays, everyone need the fast money within 2 or 3 days, and within 5 days they need the, if you invested today 1 lakh, they need the another 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs. They need to become a crorepati in next 1 hour and next day also. This is the, and how you are going to handle it, and how you are going to penetrate your business in the rural areas. That is the most important thing also nowadays, to increase our presence.
Got it. That's a good question, and that's one of the failures that I mentioned of Savart actually, where we haven't been able to create a mark and a presence in rural areas. The thing is, like I said, education is the first thing, financial education. So before financial freedom is the last. Before that comes financial literacy, then comes financial inclusion, then comes financial freedom. So we are still in the first stage, stage 1 with them. We need to invest a lot into the education within the financial literacy space, and help them understand that stock markets are not gambling, and stocks are not the only investments around also. Let's be honest about it. Just because we are into this business, it's not the only option out there. There's so many other good options, but they need to start looking at financial assets also, not just physical assets. And the numbers that you quoted, 2%, 4%, 5% of India invest, that's very true. Over the next decade, this is going to change. It's going to get to 40% or 30%, in line with the developed and the mature economies as well. And Savart will definitely be a market leader and a very, very critical player in letting that happen. So this expansion of the Indian markets, we are going to drive that. And of course, a lot of other players in the industry who are capable of doing that as well. So yes, our focus is on that. We will be getting into rural and suburban areas. We'll be getting the financial literacy program, we'll be investing into that, and we'll reap the returns, and they'll reap the returns in a decade from now, basically. So that's a long-term mindset that we're carrying at this moment. Thanks for that question.
Indeed, we have a last question to take up, and then we are proceeding for the fourth
The
floor.
light center.
Hi, my name is Anyway. So, what was your parents' reaction, or your friends' reaction, or relatives' reaction when you first said that you wanted to stop your BTech and start up a financial company?
So I think first reaction was somehow dad related it to the computer which was there since many years. So he said, I'll take away the computer. So he took the computer and I think left for a brief while. And then I told him, fine, I'll also not study now, it's up to you. So you take the computer, I'll leave the books, then we'll see who wins. So then I think in couple of minutes, not even hours or days, he brought the computer back, put it back on the table and said, you are right, you do whatever you want. So I think his and mom's also that understanding is super fast. I actually was ready for the long haul actually. I was thinking 1-2 years it will take time, lot of fights and discussions. So I was getting ready to be that patient person to talk to them. But it happened so quickly, I was amazed basically. They just said yes, or they are tricking me into saying yes and they're doing something else. Okay? But they were pretty okay with that. And friends and I think relatives and stuff, not much of a problem basically. And in fact, even today most of them don't know what I'm doing, except a very few people. And when we meet, we are actually talking something not Savart, not starter actually. So they literally don't know much about this. And a lot of our relatives who came here today, this is the first time they actually got to know what I'm doing basically. So until now they really thought I dropped out and I'm not doing anything in life. So that's so it's generally secret, so I had no problems with them basically.
And do you have an inspiration?
Inspiration, not kind of, but there's so many people I learn from. Henry David Thoreau's thoughts and things that I like. Henry Singleton and Warren Buffett for investing, of course. Not inspiration, but I love some aspects of all of them and a lot of other people that I follow. Right. Thanks.
That was indeed. Yes.
For all those children, you should have that clarity, confidence. Yeah. Please, for all the kids and the children, you should have that power of convincing the parents. So the parents are always right, but there are some kids who can convince their parents for what they are doing. But the one thing which I have seen from my son is clarity. From the beginning to today for any day. That made me immense, that gave me the immense strength to do it. I had a lot of criticisms from parents, sisters, brothers. You are a fool, you have given him a chance to stop the studies and all. You are a mad fellow, he is such a good at academics and all. All such rubbish I have seen. But I have got at the back of my mind, from the childhood I used to see him, whatever he does with the clarity. That clarity everybody has got. The moment Papa or Mama says no, you are gone. All your power of convincing skills will go. Be firm, be with clarity, never change them.
Indeed, to add upon.
Yeah, lot of luck. In fact, you all also, we met with luck only. So, lot of our investors, clients, friends, everybody. I think that's a massive stroke of luck for everything. In fact, I would attribute 99.9% of the entire thing that I did, not Savart. Savart is all hard work of the team. But in my case, it's just 99.9% luck, and just the little percent is everything else that we discussed right now. And for Savart, it's not me. It's just that I'm talking a lot at this moment, so it might feel like I am Savart and I represent all of it. Absolutely not. I am like maybe a 1% or 0.5% of what Savart is, and all those people who are not even here, Aditya, Sridhar, Ajay, and all those people, and my sister and all the investors, not all of them are here as well. But all of their work is so important basically. And so many times, there's also some people here, I'll not name them for their privacy, but one of our investors, last time we were looking for some debt, right, at a very short notice. We had some investor delays. So I was looking at, okay, we need a 50 lakh or a 1 crore rupees debt in less than 2 days basically. So I called up this person who is also here, actually is listening to us. So I just called him up and he was like, how much do you need? I said, see, I need anywhere between 2 lakhs and a crore. Anything that you do, and we'll repay that back in a month. He said, and I was like, I was talking, okay, what's the interest rate? And he cut the call. And then in the next 5 minutes, the money was in my bank basically. He didn't ask the purpose. He didn't even ask me what you are doing with that money. He just gave it. That's it. So that kind of luck, I think, we'll not find, right? We'll find investors everywhere, but I think that kind of trust, nobody will do. In fact, many of our investors didn't get share certificates until a long time. So they just gave money, forgot. I called them, some of them up, and like, okay, you forgot your share certificate. Why don't you take it now? It's been long. So that kind of people and that kind of team, very difficult to find and difficult to kind of just get it. It's just luck basically. So that's super important. Perfect. So we'll go to the other floor.
We are actually moving towards 4th floor where people are
we'll do the
actually
same
waiting.
Q&A session there.
Eager to have questions, they can come to the 4th floor.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody. Whoever is on this floor, thanks for joining.
See, please everybody, please have their dinner.
Yes.
It's not complete. Okay, sir. Okay, please be closer. Okay. So, okay, just look here. Okay. 1 second. I got a photo. Oh. You have really surprised us. You have really surprised us. You wake it up.
Oh, I do understand you were actually waiting for the question and answer sessions. We just have Mr. Sankarsh joining us in the next less than a minute.
ఇవన్నీ షిఫ్ట్ చేయాలి లైట్స్ మరి టైం పడుతుంది.
How are you going to manage them and also the success? Because sometimes you can take some shortcuts to kind of bypass and then get that one question. Second question is the apart algorithm, right? It's called Vantage before.
Vantage is now apart.
Now apart is the one which is actually unique to your company. And now I got to know that you're selling this to B2B companies. If you start with selling this to B2B companies, will Savart be unique anymore?
Okay, both great questions. Thanks for asking them. And first question I'll divide into two parts. I'll answer the first part and then Kranti will help me answer that. So number one, see, we'll have to remember and specifically work for clients when their money is separate and our money is separate, correct? But here's your investment in. So I don't have to think separately. That's number one. So our interests are aligned. That's very, very important for success. And second, team or a single human being with actually managing all that money, right? That's the reason we built the algorithm in the first place. Because today I might be making 5 good decisions and next month I'll be making 2 shitty decisions, which would lose money for you. So of course the algorithm also makes mistakes. But net are we making money? That's one of the most important things. And I think that we have been able to do at least until so far. But still a lot of scope for improvement. I would say in experience and return, everything. We're working on that every moment. So first is skin in the game. Second is a technology and the entire algorithms that we are building so that it's not dependent on us to make you money. And our mistakes don't hurt you. So that's second. And third, in terms of what's the uniqueness once we start selling apart. So you consider apart like something like a Salesforce or CRM basically. We are selling the software, not the advice that comes with it. So we are using the apart software with our own investment philosophy and intelligence and data to create insights and advice for our clients. Another client who would use using Savart, another institutional client, would be utilizing their own data, their own investment philosophy, which we won't be giving them, to build their own investment algorithm. So the builder, the software is the same, but how you utilize it to make investments is different. So the actual assets they'll be investing is different. The actual securities that they'll be investing is different. So apart is also driving Savart. Savart's advice philosophy is very unique. So that can't be replicated by others basically. So a hedge fund would be using our part, an insurance company would be using our part. So their portfolios have got nothing to do with us, basically. And Savart doesn't sell the advice to them, it only sells the software to them, so that they can build their own advice. So there is no conflict of interest and the uniqueness remains with whatever we do, right? And the first, there's another small part that Kanti will also.
No, when you ask for the investor, I guess you ask for whoever is investing in Savart. Like, I'm one of the early investors in Savart. I'm very proud to say that. At least I don't know how Sankarsh felt, or I know some of the investors along with me, we ensured or we believe that we never put pressure on returns for him. Because when we approached, at least I know I approached Sankarsh to take an advice. It was a choice between me, I can take his advice and invest in 100 other companies to make my money, or invest in his own company to make. So the choice was very simple for us, because in the past 4 years, I can say Sankarsh made me more money than I made by myself. So apart from the VCs, we all the investors also have a responsibility that it's not about, we look at returns in monetary terms or a valuation terms. There is a vision also. So when we all, being as an investor, we also carry along with him the legacy of forwarding that vision and mission as well. That's where a difference between, if I could have invested with his advice in Tatas and all, maybe money more, but I would have not carried his legacy. But today I'm here sitting with him. I'm proud that I'm sitting along with him to carry that legacy. That's what, as an investor, I would look at.
Thanks Gandhi, and thanks Rajshekhar for making the time to come. Right, thanks. Thanks. So I hope that's a separate subscription. Because we need double the amount. No, we'll create a family account soon. That's coming in the next quarter, not anytime in the next 2-3 months. But a family account feature is coming for sure.
Indeed, he believes that, let it be the 2 separate accounts so that he doesn't have to come in between the columns. Yeah.
Hi Sankarsh. Here. My name is Ramya. I'm a software engineer working for a bank. I have been working past 7 years, but I have started investing only since 1.5 years. Okay, because no one has told me about investing. I've always thought investing is like investing in stock market is very risky. Because we were never taught in schools or colleges about investing.
Yeah.
And only my husband urged me to invest. Then only I started investing, and I've subscribed for Savart. Okay. So since you have ability to teach people, you were talking about financial literacy, right?
Yeah.
So since you have that ability to do it, so how would you introduce investing since school? How would you do that?
Sure. So number one, like I said, the education system. I think the audio was live here, right? So the education system needs a massive overhaul. So the first step that I took, we had a program called Nirvana, where we were actually charging 40 to 50,000 rupees for a personalized sessions with people and actually telling them about stock markets. Then I saw 2 disconnects basically. One, which was my general vision that healthcare and education should generally be free. It should not be chargeable. It's the duty of the society and the government or the collective people basically to actually keep it free and accessible for all. So the first thing I did is I stopped charging money for that session. Second, what I did is this is very personalized and not scalable. We were doing 5-6 people in a batch. So now what we are doing is in the next 1 to 2 months, we are releasing a completely overhauled system of Nirvana from audio, text, video, everything available for free. And we have a freemium model in that, few premium features, which when people purchase, 100% of those proceeds actually go to building financial literacy in rural areas. So that we are doing that. Next, in terms of how we are doing it at schools, we are trying to lobby ourselves into different schools and institutions and get investing, saving, spending, banking, insurance, things which are very financial related, not just stock market, right? To be added to the curriculum of school students basically, so that they understand and discuss personal finance, right? So there are many taboo topics in Indian families generally. Like for example, sex is generally not spoken about. Personal finance is not spoken about. Anything related to money is not spoken about. So the more you open up conversations, the easier it becomes for the kids to learn. If you keep them in a kind of shell, then there's no potential or the capacity to kind of inculcate that at a young age. So yes, we are doing our part of the contribution. in getting that done. We'll see how well it's successful. But yes, we are making attempts to get that literacy.
Yeah, also I've noticed that especially for women, the other day we were having a session in office. It was a women only session. We were discussing about investing, and there were many women, they think that stock market is very risky and they know nothing about stocks. So
yes.
I think women should be more educated.
100%. Not just women, everybody. I think the financial literacy overall is very less. It's not people's mistake, it's just the system's mistake. So I think, but of course, people also have to make a kind of attempt to bridge that gap. We will actually get there. So stock market versus chit funds, stock market versus real estate, stock market versus all other asset classes. We'll try to inculcate. Absolutely. Thanks for asking that question. Any other questions?
And before we take the other question, I would request Chandrasekhar Garu to please take the seat. Yes. And the next question would be? Yes, can you have the mic for the lady?
Hi Santosh, I'm Karuna. See, we have the tangible products like the gold and real estate which are currently booming in the market. So this is a product which you're selling as an intangible thing. And how do you build the trust in customers? As a client, say my husband invests, I don't invest. I ask him not to invest also because I don't believe in it, I don't trust in it. Correct. You see a lot of changes in gold and there is a lot of appreciation which is happening in it. So how do you mark this and how do you see this? What are the things that you make to build trust first and foremost thing? And the product that you're selling is completely an intangible thing. So can you just describe about it?
Beautiful question in fact. But if you notice, the most important things in life are actually intangible. Whether it's families, love, whether it's the time that you spend, whether it's the passion that you have, or successes and good moments in life, all are intangible basically. Tangible is actually a subjugation of a particular moment or an emotion or a feeling or a product into something that's real and physical, just to give you that feeling of touch. And coming to things like real, and it's not that tangible is anyway inferior to intangible, but intangible is also known less in general. Real estate and gold, of course, are the favorites for Indian households and everywhere else, but just look at the statistics. Once an economy matures, once households and the people in the household start getting financial literacy, the adoption for financial assets grows. Why? Because they look for higher and higher and higher return. Now, the literal talk that happens in families is, when my mom gave me a kg of gold during my marriage, it was 500 rupees kg. 500 rupees for 10 grams. Today it is 50,000 rupees. But that is 35 years back. If you do a CAGR calculation, that less than 6 to 8%. Real estate, you are buying a house, right? Do you watch its rate every day? Do you have a counter on your house which says 1.29 crores, 34 rupees and 59 paisa? The rate of your house or my house, right? We don't have counters like that. Stock has it, unfortunately, right? So because people look at it every day, they think that they should look at it every day. And it's something that you should be following each and every time. So that reduces the favorability or relevance of stock market in a lot of different ways. And of course, stock market is a place where a lot of people have lost a lot of money. And it's often seen as gambling. But anything that you do without research is a gamble. If you drive with your eyes closed, you're done. Unless you have a superpower with that, right? So anything you do without research. You didn't research a house and you bought it with fake papers. You lost. So it's not the problem of the asset class, it's a problem of ourselves. So it's a perception change. And how do we gain trust? Just by doing basically. So when I talk about statistics, and as economies adapt investments and financial assets, it's up to your choice and up to the larger audience choice in terms of whether we want to be early in this shift, we want to be late in this shift. Both are going to make good amount of money, no doubt. But it's up to them how much more money they want to make, and how to make it reasonably well and in reasonable amount of time and wisely. So, and we at Savart gain trust. One, for example, we are a zero bribe company. Since the time we started our company, we faced lot of hurdles, but our ethics remain a core thing, right? We don't bribe anybody ever. We wait for 15 months, 13 months for paying something as little as 3,000 and getting work done, right? And we end up paying a 30,000 rupee penalty for the same thing. Nobody watches it, nobody knows it. Even if we pay, nobody will ever know. But again, the company answers to its own conscience, basically. So those values. So these things clients won't know today, but tomorrow when they actually are with us over time, they'll actually get to know all our efforts and this transparency that we are building. For example, look at the build of this entire floor.
there's no opacity basically in the glasses. It's a complete transparent thing. It's intentional, right? There is nothing to hide within the company. Everything is transparent. My cabin, everybody else's cabin, group discussion rooms. So when there's nothing to hide, you're free in your mind. And when you're free in your mind, you can service the client well. And when you serve them well, you make good money for them. So it's just that kind of loop, a feedback loop kind of stuff. And that's how we made most of our clients basically. And that's why they trust us with their money. Initially we had 10 clients, 30 clients. Now we have 5,000 clients. We started with 1 crore of assets under advisory. Now we are at 415 crores in assets under advisory. So it's just a matter of time. People understand what we're doing and we'll keep giving our best. And that's the best way to build trust. And it can't be built in any other way, at least that we know. That, okay, you put here, we'll guarantee you return, we'll give you this much. No. That's all going to actually create lack of trust if you do that. So I know I haven't answered that question 100% well because I don't know the answer 100% to that. So I've given you what I know, right? So thanks for asking that question.
Any other question? Yeah.
Hi Sankar, this is Arvind. I mean, like, everyone will be having their favorite stock, right? Favorite sector or favorite stock. So if I ask you what's your favorite sector or what's your favorite stock, what do you answer?
Savart.
Savart is not listed in the public, right? But it's not listed in the public, right?
Yeah. Of course, I mean, I don't have a favorite honestly, but I'm a big fan of the Tata companies. All of their group companies in general. So even if they don't make money for a long time shareholder value creation, I'll remain invested in them just because it aligns with my ethical values basically. So the Tata group is something that I like. And on the private front, a local company called Almond House, which is a sweet shop, is a business that I admire in a lot of aspects. Detailing of the product, premium pricing, client empathy. You get unlimited food and samples when you go there. If you order for 200 grams, they give you 225 grams. Their packaging, their branding, the way they look at their clients, the way they have grown, their ethics, transparency, brilliant business basically. So there's, I just go to Almond House just like that, buy sweets just for the heck of buying it and just to soak in that experience. And how I can replicate that at this company also. So it's a local company. It's just 500 meters away from my home. So just imagine how many such beautiful companies are there in India basically. So there's so much opportunity that we can invest in and be a part of, right? So that would be my answer. And one, I know I haven't again answered that question with one stock because I literally don't have an answer to that. Thanks.
And also please don't consider it as a formal advice. Please come through Savart subscription only to get an advisor.
Yes. We have one finale question. Yeah.
See, what was your motivational point? First motivational point that pushed you towards business and a wealthy sector.
Yeah.
What was your first?
Yes. So initially, I think talking as less as possible. Now it's not even evident when I'm talking so much actually, but I hate talking and I hate kind of being around a lot of people in general. Now I've changed that. The business has changed that. But stock markets, the beauty about it is you need a laptop, you need a computer, some initial investment and your brain just to get your work done. And I don't need to talk to a lot of people to get that thing. That was my initial thing. The second reason was in terms of complex systems in the universe, right? Universe is the most complex system by itself, the cosmology and the cosmos. The second would be the human brain and the quantum world, all the quantum sciences. Third would be the meteorology and weather, and fourth would be the stock markets. So with the resources that I had, what's the most complex system that I could think and take on basically? That was stock market, with the resources. So I began kind of doing that with the limited resources that I had. But deep down, space is something, cosmology is something that is very, very close to my heart, and that's why Starter is something that I'm super, super excited about. And Savart is what will bridge that poor-rich gap, create that financial freedom, and let me do what I love to do, like I said, right? Give me that time, not talk much, and just do my work there.
The name, right?
Yeah.
Savart. Any?
Yeah, sure. So Savart stands for the art of savings. SAV from savings and art. Okay. Right? And apart, I told the full form. And starter is star plus ardor. Ardor for stars, passion for stars.
Okay then.
Thank you.
Indeed, almost. इतने सारे क्वेश्चन के बीच में मेरे का भी क्वेश्चन है. It's like how reliable is this? I mean, like being a beginner investor, there are lots of questions that keeps running. As you said, financial literacy is also important, and savings is not limited to only the business people or someone who's into technology or something, but saving is for everybody, like taking it from the child to the old age. Everybody needs to save. We generally do that. We save the pocket money. That's how reliable is it, and how can someone get attracted, and what is the targeted, always we work on targeted market most of the time. So how does that work?
Sure. So in one line, if I have to summarize that, your return in stock market and your experience is as reliable as your research. The better your research, the more reliable it is. Most important. Second, and say you're buying a real estate, the same example that I gave. If you do it without doing research, you are going to lose a lot of money. It's not real estate's problem, it's your problem that you didn't do research. So either you do the research or go with somebody who does it for you. Two options, right? So stock markets have got that brand of gambling and things because it's easy to gamble there. It's like a pseudo casino, you can say, because it's easy to make it a casino. So that it has got that perception basically. And third, if you're just patient and start with a small amount of money, don't start with large amount of money, 500, 1,000, 100, whatever is small for you. Just start with that and get going. That's it. Don't have the pressure that 1 lakh nahi hai, to main start nahi kar sakta, because the barriers are so low to start investing. So it's no big deal. Not just with Savart, with all other firms it's the same. The barriers are very low to get started.
And how can someone expect the returns? Like when someone is investing. As you said, we need to have patience. Few people are like invest करते वो रोज देखना शुरू कर देते हैं, like a child mentality. Like we have been said, अगर if you are putting 1 rupee down here, it will turn 2 rupees tomorrow. So we keep checking every hour. So this is the same thing. Like we are investing, and people tend to thinking that when are we going to get the returns?
Correct. I think patience is something part of the financial literacy that we have to do. In fact, we set that expectation right for our clients during the time of onboarding, or at least during the entire experience as well, that without patience it's not possible. Less than 3 years, forget anything to get from Savart. The average market return is around 15%. It is Savart's mission to do a 30% return for 30 years. We have been able, that's a CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. So we've done that for 3 years, 34.7%. We want to do that for another 27 years in a row basically. But that's not guaranteed. Anybody who guarantees return in the stock market is a fraud. Don't listen to that. Nobody can guarantee return in the stock market. Right? So that's the answer.
Okay. Any other question? Yes, we have.
Sankash, I am Premla. So most of the last 2 years 34%, right?
Yeah.
They thought everybody, okay, it will every year we can get it 34. That's the main problem in India. So she asked real estate. Amravati is down, Cap City is down. That Shamshabad, whoever invested so money, whoever invested it is down. Turkey currency is 70% down.
Yes.
So gold is also not that much better. So the thing is out. So whoever don't know, mutual funds is the best. The thing is there is a flaw. Out of 1,000 funds, only 20 funds only the best.
Yes.
Okay. So within that, I'm not saying Savart is only the platform. The low cost. I think in India nobody has given in with low cost transparency and advice. You can check it out. Small case, 15,000 or 18,000 they are charging per annum. Okay, so the thing is, let's say within the mutual fund, let's say SIP 5,000 every month. So each fund they are investing 80 to 90 stocks, but you are getting a 50 rupees only 1 minute. So it's not fair for me. It's not fair for me. So they are giving only advising 2 or 4 only. That's a beauty. And one more thing, always checking after 6 months at same stocks they given right. How it's not performance, that is also problem. Exit is also most important. 10 years you have to invest, then only. Otherwise, it cannot work.
Absolutely.
That is the most important.
Absolutely.
34%.
So concentrated portfolio and a low cost and having a long-term mindset.
Long-term.
Super important.
Yes. 6 months, 1 year, it doesn't work.
Yes. Yes. Thanks.
Indeed. What would be the minimum investment anyone could think of?
500 or 100.
Okay.
Starting there.
And adding to your first question that you just said that you need not to go to school. For the kids who are listening over here and for the kids who can see me, trust me, if you're not going to school, if you go to school, you have 6 subjects or 7 subjects, whatever it is. If not, you got this whole library to study. Decision is all yours. I could see kids saying, no, I'm good with social science and maths.
No, actually, so let me re-clarify what I said in the other floor. of course, education system needs a overhaul, and of course, you shouldn't go to school. But then you need to find another way as well, because it's super easy to actually get out of school and then not do anything also. And then not doing anything, if that's your passion, don't do anything. That's a separate discussion. But don't use my comments in such a way that I'll not do anything, not go to school because he said so, and then don't put me in soup there. And just do what you love, and we will hope so. We'll try our best, like we said, on the financial literacy side. We'll try to overhaul that system as much as possible over the next few months, and we'll take that initiative elsewhere as well. Right?
Yes. No, actually, I would conclude this by saying that all that I could understand having a conversation with all the dignitaries present over here, you need to have a clarity of what to do in your life first. Yes. We have one last question coming up. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for bearing me. Last question. See, you are a young, dynamic financial advisor. So, why don't you motivate kids and to motivate kids? Means as a parent, if you say something to kids to save, they will listen. No burger, pizza, whatever you said, almond. If you say as a youngster, as a dynamic person, they will listen actually.
Yes.
Okay. So they don't have burden, they don't have stress. Correct. At this age.
Yes.
Same. As a elder, as a parent, we have stress actually. Why? Yeah. Whenever we are investing, immediately when it is growing. But children don't have that type of stress.
Yes.
It will take time.
Absolutely.
So it is the time to save, and they will see slowly the impact of the future.
Correct.
So in that mode, can you plan?
100%. Like that's why I said we're working with schools and educational institutions very soon to add personal finance as a subject to their curriculum itself. Maybe it can replace trigonometry to start with. It's not useful. So maybe whatever is the shitty stuff, it will start replacing them over time, and kids will actually start learning what is really important. Yeah. We are doing the lobbying for that at the moment. Right. Next 2-3 months, we'll make some good headway for sure.
When you're going to school, please address the teachers. They don't know what to do with their money, and the investments are being taken, the benefits are taken by the husbands. I keep educating them that your money is yours and your tax return should be used for that. It doesn't happen. Apparently, most of the cases, the husbands take up the money, invest it, and take the benefit. So when you are hitting the schools, please, the teachers.
Sure, we'll keep that in mind for sure.
Probably we are turning Sankarsh from a businessman and one of the great influencer. I mean, you're turning into an influencer in coming days. I can see that. And ladies and gentlemen, to conclude with, make sure you do have a clarity. I've heard many people asking, how can someone become Sankarsh? You need not to become Sankarsh, is what he also have addressed. You have to become yourself first to make sure you get the pathway on the success, and definitely not missing the late. Do make sure that you invest and be a part of Savart on an early note. And we are about to end this note with some sweet, that is a beautiful cake to be cut. And it's time for the celebration. And do remember, everybody, we have a selfie booth placed at the ground floor. Please do click pictures and keep sharing among everybody. And make sure that you become a part of Savart. Yes, this QR scanner is right present over here. You can scan it, and we also have a special discount of 10% off going on. We have our Savart team around you for any kind of assistance. We are right over here to answer all the queries, and definitely I know you guys are having a very important time. Yes, an important time wherein you are ready to have one-on-one session with Sankarsh and all the dignitaries present over here. I would request Sangeeta Garu to please come forward. Sankarsh mother. Yes, Sangeeta Garu, if we are audible to you, we would request you to please step down to 4th floor for the cake cutting. Yes, and also Chandrasekhar Garu. Chandrasekhar Garu is making sure that his success lifeline is right beside him.
देखो साइड
Sangeeta Garu, if you can hear us, can we have you at 4th floor?
కెమెరా ఎప్పుడు డిలే ఉండదు లైవ్ డిలే
As just mentioned in the earlier meeting, Sankarsh is overwhelmed to have this meet on a greatest occasion of his life, the birthday of his sister too. And indeed we are having 2 cakes, one for the celebration and the bigger one is for his sister, to mention it, if she is watching right over here. No, the bigger one. Trust me, you can handle the investors, not your sister. Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, please do click the pictures and do tag Savart and be a part of it. And definitely I, as promised, will definitely be a part of Savart. I will definitely talk to my dad today, being a grown-up girl. Oh, he's all ready. It's only me who keeps saying no. So how many of you have already invested? Please raise your hand. Yes, in Savart. Yes, to be mentioned. Okay, how many of you are thinking of? And the best part is, I could see from the family, every individual raising the hand is like, your investment is your, my investment is mine. Yes, we have a very own person, Mr. Gagan, who is from northeast part. Thank you so much, Gaganji, for making your presence over here. Can we have a round of applause? See, that's how the trust has been built. It's not only about Hyderabad or Telangana or Andhra Pradesh. We are all over India and abroad also, and that's how trust has been built. And coming to the question, how many of you are ready to invest? Please raise your hand. Hey, again. I can see. Oh, you have a question? Oh my God, that's the difference that we are making today. Yes.
Sankarsh, till now I don't know anything about the stock market, but after seeing your career growth, I would like to invest 1 lakh in Savart.
Oh, we are all set. Now I am in a thought process. I was at $1,000. Okay, I have to think now. Yes, but that's how kids are also. I mean, like coming to the conclusion, I would request all the parents also to make sure that we didn't have that privilege to get that information, how to invest, where to invest. Right? I mean, coming from this generation, మనకప్పుడు సరిగ్గా తెలిసేది కాదు కదా, బ్యాంకింగ్ సిస్టమ్ కూడా తెలిసేది కాదు. మా దగ్గరికి వచ్చేసరికి ఏదో బ్యాంకింగ్ తెలిసింది. Next generation should know how to invest. A money kept in house will not double itself. You need to invest, right? Even if it is not double, at least it should feed something to you. So that's the actual agenda that we are taking forward. And the beautiful lady is right over here, Sangeeta Garu. Okkar gattiga chappatlanడి. ఇలాంటి పేరెంట్స్, ఇలాంటి అమ్మ ఖచ్చితంగా అందరికి ఉండాలి. Yes. Can we have a round of applause, everybody? Please put your hands together.
We'll cut it and we'll eat it later.
We are still waiting for the birthday cake to be cut.
Yeah, we'll cut that also.
Yes.
We didn't sanitize our hands. I have no OCD. So this is for my sister.
Yes. Happy birthday. I hope her name is Taruni. Yes. Happy birthday, Taruni. You've got one of the best Raksha Bandhan gift as your brother.
Perfect. So can you quickly take it down and show me? Yeah. Put it
అమ్మ చేయబడితే చాలండి, ఎలాంటి ఓసిడి అని పారిపోవాల్సింది. అది అర్థమైంది నాకు.
భయ్యా కొంచెం పక్కకి జరగండి.
ఆయన బేసిక్గా కేక్ తినడానికి వెయిట్ చేస్తున్నారండి. మీకు అర్థం కావట్లేదు, ఆ కళ చూస్తుంటే అర్థం కావట్లేదు. Yes. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, please do have your dinner, and I hope it was a great session with you all, guys. As we couldn't answer most of your questions, but I believe that we have answered few questions that are relatable to everybody over here. And probably we'll go one-on-one session and the networking session, which is about to start right after the cake cutting done. And do tag us, Savart, once you have any pictures or you click any pictures.
I'm your father's classmate.
Yes, indeed. We also have a franchisee opportunity going on. If anybody is interested for the franchisee opportunity, you can actually meet Mr. Ashwini or Mr. Kranti right over there. Mr. Kranti, can you just raise your hand? He's the one. So you can quickly connect with them for any kind of franchisee opportunity you are looking forward for. Let me remind you all again, we have this amazing QR scanner present over here. Do scan it and avail the offer of 10% discount. And make sure that you click the pictures and tag us on all the social media handles. And the amazing part is, we are giving away the gifts plans, which will always replica us, because it's all about to grow together. So please do take all the giveaways that we are planning to give away. Ladies and gentlemen, the dinner is all set. Requesting you all to please proceed for the dinner. And do not forget to take your giveaways. We have a small plans for the giveaway. So make sure that you take those giveaways and do not forget to tag us as Savart.